Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you are somebody who is new to my channel, my name is Elizabeth. My channel name is ChiTownGirl, and Miss Kahlua, who is my sidekick, who is trying to take over my channel, is right behind me. I am in the kitchen this morning. I'm calling this video basically Wake and Bake with Beth. The reason for that is I'm in the house for the next 2 days doing some tests for my kidneys, so I can't go anywhere. And I'm stuck in the house. So I have my sleepy shirt on, I still have my pajamas bottoms on, and it's kind of chilly outside today. The sun keeps going in and then it goes out. It's just crazy. And I decided I wanted to, being April 1st, I wanted to start getting into the more of the Easter mode. And this is something that I put together for myself, my family, my friends around the holiday time. This recipe can be altered to a degree, but I'm going to do the best I can to try to pull this off because I think this is my third cooking video, if that. Yeah, I think it's my third. So bear with me. I hope to get better as I go along. I'm going to start with what you're going to need for this mix. And I call it all different things. It depends on the time of the year. So there's really no proper name for this. It's just my version of a sweet and salty Chex Mix. So this is what I use. The first two things, these are two of the big containers I just got from Dollar Tree. The ones that you would not necessarily do the turkey in, which those would work too, but these are just your longer big trays. So you're gonna need two of those. You're gonna put one off to the side because you're gonna use that later. I have my oven on 350, preheating at the moment. So I'm gonna take my tray, and the first thing you wanna get is a box of corn squares. This is just the generic version at Aldi's. They have corn, they have rice, they have all different ones. You can either use this or a version of your own store. You don't want to use rice, you want to use corn. The rice Chex are very soft and they disintegrate upon putting caramel and heat in there, and that's what we're going to be doing. So you want to go with something a little bit more sturdy. So any kind of corn squares or Chex, corn Chex. What I happen to use, and I have a bag right here, this is Crispex. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Crispex, it's the same thing as corn Chex. Let me just open the box. It's the big box, so it's a 14-ounce size bag. I'm using the Crispex, and the only difference is I just happen to have a box here, and the Crispex are shaped more in a diamond pattern, and they just have two different flavors on them. So, but this is absolutely fine to use as well. So you're gonna take your entire bag and pour it right into that container. And I'm just gonna move my screen down here a little bit until I get some proper equipment. So I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. So I'm taking that entire bag of cereal and I'm pouring it into my tray. And I really wish I had a bigger tray because this is gonna be a tight fit. Normally I have something a little bigger, but I couldn't find anything at the Dollar Tree. So there's that whole container of cereal. Next, I love pecans, so I have a bag of 10 ounces of pecan halves, and I'm going to pour that in the container as well. The whole bag. And we're going to end up mixing this up, but I start to stir it up as I add different ingredients. Okay, the next thing is mini pretzels. Just any brand. This happens to be Hannaford, which is a store that's out here. Now, normally I would do the whole bag, but because there's really not a lot of room in this container, I'm just going to eyeball it. But like I said, normally I would do the entire bag. Actually, it might fit. Let me just double check here. Mix it up some more. And you want to be gentle. We're basically just tossing it around here. Kahlua is on the floor. She knows that if something gets dropped, she's right there for it. The best vacuums in the world are puppies. Okay, I'm going to put a few more pretzels in here. I might be able to pull off the whole bag, but I want to have room because this is going to be stirred around a few times before we get to our end result. So I'm not going to do any more pretzels, but normally, again, like I said, I would do the whole bag. So this is what we have. We're going to put that to the side. You're also going to need one bag of plain M&Ms, which could be optional, but this is what I do, and I use the entire bag. I usually get the color that's going with the season, and right now it's pastel because it's going to be Easter. I then take a regular saucepan, fairly deep, and I take 2 sticks of butter. You can pull them right out of the fridge. Mine just happen to be softened up already. So you have 2 sticks of butter. Then you're going to add 2 cups of brown sugar, and just regular light brown sugar, not the dark, just light brown sugar, whatever you use. I did compress it some, so it's a good 2 cups. You're going to put that in the saucepan as well. And let me just bring this down some. You're definitely going to want to have a spatula because the next item that we're putting in here is 2 cups of, some people call it Karo syrup, some people call it Cairo syrup. 2 cups is basically the entire bottle, which is a 16 fluid ounce bottle. So 1 entire bottle, 2 cups, which I've already poured out here. Again, that's why I have my spatula. So 2 cups of the syrup. Yes, you're looking at this and going, oh my God, the sugar. 2 cups of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar, and 2 cups of Cairo syrup, or 2 sticks of butter. I don't recommend margarine, only because it does change the effect of the caramel sauce. And that is indeed what we're creating here, is a caramel sauce. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to take this over to my stove top, and I'm going to bring this all to a boil. Slow boil, because it's going to be caramel sauce. And if you burn caramel sauce, you might as well toss it all in the garbage because you'll never get that flavor out of your mixture. So what I'm going to do now is take this over to my stove. It takes about, depending on your stove, you want to do it at a low temperature, not real high. You want to get it all melted, get it all stirred in together, and then you want to get it to a point where it becomes a frothy stage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the camera here and then take this over to my stove, get it to that frothy stage that I'm referring to, and then bring you back on camera and show you what I do next. And my oven just went off, so my oven is set at 350 degrees, and I will pick this up after I have my sauce melted so I can show you what it looks like. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, so I am back. I've just removed my mixture off the stove. And basically you're looking for this type of a consistency. And what I mean by frothy is after it's been brought to a boil, because mind you, this is very, very hot, you'll start to see air bubbles and it just becomes full of air. What you're then going to do is take your mixture that you've poured everything into. The only thing you should have left is your M&Ms, and we're not using those until the end. So you're going to take your hot mixture that we've just mixed for about 12 to 14 minutes, depending on your stove. They are going to pour this mixture slowly all over our cereal, our pretzels, and our pecans. And we're just going to pour it all in, all over, until we have it all in there. Scoop every bit of goodness out because that is your caramel sauce. We're then going to lightly stir. Now this is where you want to be careful. You don't want to make this one big pile of crunch. You want to loosely stir it around. Now mind you, these tins are going to get hot, so protect your hands. You don't want to be fancy. There's nothing to be fancy about here. We're just stirring the mixture slowly. You don't have to worry about covering everything in the first shot. Just make sure you even it out in your pan. You will have a few pieces that will stick. Obviously, make sure your hands are clean. They will be very hot. So if they stick to your finger, it will burn your finger. I'm now going to take this mixture and put it into my oven at 350 degrees. Hello. I'm going to put this into my oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'll pull the tray out and I will remix the caramel again, put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. You will repeat that one more time. So you're gonna have a total of 30 minutes of cooking time. 10 minutes, take it out, stir it carefully. Don't worry if you don't have everything covered. Try to flip it the next time around. So 10 minutes, turn it around, flip it around, back in, 10, same thing. When you finish taking this out of the oven at the very last time, you will then take your container and pour everything into the other container. Because what this is going to do now, it's going to start cooling down very quickly. And you want to make sure that you're breaking your pieces apart as they cool so you have separate Chex Mix instead of big clumps. Now, I have been doing this for such a long time, I just pour my mixture into another pan. If you want, and you have the counter space or an island to work from, put some tin foil out or some parchment paper, and at your very last, when you pull this out for the last time, spread it over the parchment paper and let it dry. It's going to take about a half an hour to an hour. You want to make sure it's cooled down, it's dry, and all the pieces are separate. Then from that stage is when you would start to put in your other items like your M&Ms. And we will pick up at that point. After I pull this out of the oven for the last time, I will show you the final step. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll be back. Alrighty, so I have just removed my container of hot Chex Mix from the oven. Again, it was in there for a total of 30 minutes. Here is the empty container. You definitely want to throw that away because you're going to never, ever, ever get it clean. That's why I get them at the Dollar Tree. So what I did is normally I would take my mixture and put it into my other container, but since I'm showing this to all of you, what I did was I took a couple of sheets of parchment paper, as you can see, and I've laid it on my island here. You can see all the mixture. It's very hot, but this is where you're going to start carefully to spread your mixture out. If you have the room to do this, by all means, this is the best way to do it. You want to go low and slow because it is extremely hot. And you're just going to keep doing this every minute or two. You're going to just keep turning it around as it continues to dry. And what you're doing here is separating the mixture so you don't end up with one huge gargantuan chunk. So this is going to take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. I let it sit out. Again, like every, few minutes or so, I'll move it around. Right now, it's too hot to touch with my hands, so I'm using my spoon. Alrighty. Now, at this point, shut your oven off. There's really nothing to do anymore except for wait this to start hardening up. And then I will come back and show you what we do from that point forward. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so basically my mixture has finally cooled off. I have taken it all off my wax paper and put all of the mixture into the second aluminum foil. I'm gonna point the camera down here. So what I did was I moved everything. Now that it's all dried and cooled off, I've just added my bag of M&Ms, and your mixture should be dry to where you can just, it's not sticky, and then you just mix it around. And what I usually tend to do, and this is just me, and it's just something that I do, is I get these cellophane bags, and I put some mixture into the bag. And then what I've done is I've grabbed a little bit of ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I would usually make, I guess it just really depends on how many guests were coming over, but I would make a bunch of these. And then I would put them all in an Easter basket. And as my guests were leaving for Easter, I would hand everybody one of these.
I have to admit this stuff is very addicting, at least in my opinion and from what I've been told. So I just kind of tie it off a little bit with some ribbon into the cellophane bag. And then I buy these little scatter pieces from Walmart. And then I just take my little hole punch, pop a couple little holes in there. Like so. And then I take one of the pieces of string, thread it through. And then you can either put a person's name on here or, you know, whatever that you would like to do, or just simply use it as a decoration. So I would end up tying it on to the package, but I want it to dangle a little as well. So there it is dangling, and then I would take my ribbon and go ahead and curl it. So I would do this to each and every one of them, and they would be in a big Easter basket by my door. And as my guests were leaving, everyone would get a little treat like this. We'll make sure we tie it nice and tight, but you basically get the idea of something that's really fun to make. There's really not a lot of time in making it. I think the worst part is just, you know, doing 10 minutes in the oven, 10 minutes in the oven, and so on and so forth. So I would end up trimming these a little bit here because we don't want them hanging too much. Looks like I missed a couple. Let's try one more here. You can definitely don't have to do this. This is just me and kind of what I do, because I'm always talking about how presentation is everything. So there would be my finished product and what it looks like in its cellophane bag. There's the two little tags I hung on there, which is a bunny and an egg. And that's it. That is my Chex Mix. So any questions or comments, please hit me up down below. I'm trying to get better at filming these. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions, how I can change it to make it better. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this Chex Mix. It is yummy. Thank you so much, everybody. Until next time. Bye-bye for now.